My name is John. Life has always had a strange way of testing my heart. I remember when Jaden, my sister's son, came to live with us. He was only 9 years old, quiet, shy, eyes filled with questions no child should ever carry. My sister, Margaret, had been abandoned by her husband, and she was struggling to survive. I didn't think twice. I took Jaden in as one of my own. From that moment, he became family in every sense of the word. My kids and Jaden shared everything: meals, laughter, toys, even schools. People often thought he was my son, and honestly, I never corrected them. He called me Uncle John, but our bond was deeper than any title. I paid his school fees, bought his clothes, guided him through homework, and celebrated his victories. When he graduated from the university, I felt the same pride any father would. Years passed. My children built their own lives, but we all remained close. Jaden got a good job in another city. I never asked him for a cent. It was enough to see him succeed, to know my sacrifices had shaped his future. I often told my wife, "That boy will never forget where he came from." How little did I know how wrong I was. Last year, my health began to fail. The doctors told me my kidneys were deteriorating fast, and I would need a transplant. The words hit me harder than any storm. I had some savings, but it wasn't enough to cover the full cost. Swallowing my pride, I reached out to my children and to Jaden. I sent each of them a message explaining the situation. My children replied almost immediately, assuring me they would do all they could. But Jaden's reply came a day later. I can still remember reading it. Greater than Uncle John, I'm really sorry to hear about your condition. But right now, I'm saving up for my father. He's been sick too, and I need to be ready to take care of him first. I hope you understand. My heart sank. My hands trembled so badly I could hardly hold the phone. His father, the man who had abandoned him, and his mother, without a single backward glance. The man I silently resented for leaving his responsibility for me to shoulder. I sat there for hours, staring at the message, trying to make sense of it. I had raised Jaden as my own, and yet, in the moment I needed him most, he chose the man who had walked away from him. I didn't respond. What could I say? Words would only cheapen the ache. My children, bless their souls, pulled together and raised the money. They sold what they could, borrowed where necessary, and stood by me every step of the way. My surgery was successful, though the recovery was long and filled with quiet nights of reflection. A week after the operation, my sister Margaret came to the hospital. Her eyes were swollen from crying. She knelt beside my bed before I could stop her. "John, please," she whispered, her voice breaking. "Forgive my son. He's young. He doesn't understand what he's done. He'll regret it one day." I couldn't hold back the tears anymore. I reached out and held her hand. "Margaret," I said softly, "I'm not angry at him. I'm just hurt, deeply hurt. I raised him like my own. I never wanted anything in return, just a little gratitude." She cried harder, and I could see the pain in her heart. She told me she had even gone around asking people for money for my surgery when she learned what Jaden had said. She sold some of her jewelry, took loans, pleaded with anyone who would listen. "You've done more for him than anyone," she said. "It breaks me that he forgot that." I told her it wasn't her fault. Life has a cruel way of revealing the hearts of those we love. Some children, no matter what you pour into them, will still choose to forget. Today, I am alive because of my children, my true children, who stood by me when I had nothing left to give. Jaden never came to see me after the surgery. Maybe guilt keeps him away, maybe pride. I don't know anymore, but I've learned something through this pain. Love doesn't always return from the direction you give it. Sometimes, the ones you raise as your own will remind you that blood isn't always the bond that matters. Gratitude is. And when it's missing, it leaves a scar deeper than any wound a surgeon can heal.